In a world where noise drowns out nuance, real intelligence doesn't announce itself. It hides in plain sight. Machiavelli understood that being truly smart isn't about how much you know, but how you use what you know, who you let see it, and how you turn it into leverage. So how do you know you're sharper than most? Not by grades or titles, but by how you see, how you adapt, how you predict what others miss. Here are two unmistakable signs of Machiavellian intelligence: cold, strategic, and dangerous. 1. You stay silent when everyone else talks. The wise act at once, fools rush last. Most can't stand silence. They fill it with noise, emotion, and self-exposure. You don't. Your silence isn't shyness. It's strategy, power. Lives in restraint. Every word unsaid is an advantage. Every pause a chance to gather intelligence others give away freely. You wield silence as camouflage, letting others reveal themselves while you remain unreadable. What this reveals about your mind, you value. Information over attention. You can delay gratification, and you're comfortable with ambiguity. Sign 2. You see people's real motives. Everyone sees appearances, few see reality. Most take words at face value. You don't. When someone flatters you, you hear the leverage behind it. When they claim one grievance, you sense the deeper wound. This isn't paranoia, it's pattern recognition. You read intentions, not words. Micro-expressions, tone slips, repeated tells, they don't escape you. The manipulators hate you because what works on 90% fails against you. Machiavelli would call this the highest form of intelligence, psychological clarity. What this reveals? About your mind, you trust patterns over promises. You don't project your morality onto others, and betrayal has sharpened your perception. These two signs alone make you dangerous in any room, not because you dominate it, but because you don't need to. You already see through it. But there's a price. True clarity often feels isolating. It makes you harder to fool, but also harder to connect with. Most people don't like mirrors, and you've become one. Checkpoint summary. You prefer silence over noise, watching movement over words. You never take people at face value. Decode the motive beneath. If these apply, you're already playing the game on a level most never reach. But this is only the beginning. Next, we'll explore how you weaponize curiosity, why boredom never finds you, and the subtle Machiavellian tactic of never needing to prove your worth. Intelligence rarely needs an audience, doesn't beg for applause or validation. It moves quietly, strategically, with precision. In Machiavelli's world, intelligence wasn't an academic trophy, it was survival. To be smart meant seeing the hidden game and using knowledge before others even realized they were being played. If you recognized yourself in the first two, signs silence as strategy and clarity of motives, then you're already operating on a rare level. But here's the twist. The sharper your intelligence, the less visible it becomes. Sign 3. You use curiosity as a weapon, not a hobby. Most people stop asking questions once they feel comfortable. Average minds settle for appearances, but not you. Your curiosity isn't casual, it's surgical. You don't just want to know how things work. You want to know why, for whom, and how to turn it to your advantage. You reverse engineer trends. You study influence, not just content. You track systems, not just results. Your questions cut deeper. Who set the rules? Who profits if I fail? Who wins if I conform? It's curiosity. Keeps you fluid, adaptable, uncatchable. Machiavelli would respect this. He knew that ruling required understanding mechanisms of control better than those who built them. Your curiosity is the blade that slices through illusion. What this reveals, you see information as leverage. You decode power structures, not just surface opinions. You connect patterns others miss. Sign 4. You never get bored. Most people drown in distraction apps, noise, drama, because they can't sit alone with themselves. You can. Your mind is a weapon, never idle. You create worlds in silence. You run simulations. You test strategies. You connect ideas others overlook. This isn't daydreaming, it's mental autonomy. You don't need external input to feel alive. You generate it yourself. While others cling to shallow entertainment, you build frameworks, philosophies, and systems tools you can call on at will. Machiavelli, who sharpened his mind in solitude, would call this one of the greatest strengths. If silence strengthens you, instead of breaking you, you're already ahead of most. What this reveals, you thrive on abstract thought. You're mentally self-reliant. Your stillness is dangerous because it's sharpening you. Sign 5. You don't need to prove you're smart. Here lies the paradox. The truly intelligent rarely announce it. They don't wave credentials, correct others for ego, or flaunt quotes for validation. Why? Because they know this truth. The moment you need to prove intelligence, you've already surrendered power. The more you reveal, the easier you are to predict. Smart people guard their sharpness. They let results, not words, prove their dominance. They understand that being underestimated is often the greatest advantage. They let others underestimate them. They move quietly to gain the upper hand. You measure value by outcomes, not applause. You don't need recognition of your brilliance. You need compliance. You want people doing what you want, when you want, without realizing they've been guided. You've learned that being right is often the weakest move in the room. Arguments don't shift power. Influence does. And you play for influence. Every time. Machiavelli taught that appearing less capable than you are is a weapon, one used by Caesar, Napoleon, and today's CEOs. It isn't weakness. It's concealment. Strategic invisibility. What this reveals about your mind? You've transcended the ego trap of needing recognition. You use humility as camouflage, not as morality, but as manipulation. You measure intelligence, not by how you're perceived, but by the outcomes you engineer. Now we're at the core of Machiavellian intelligence. Being smarter than most isn't about piling up answers. It's about asking sharper questions, seeing hidden angles, and having the discipline to hide your power until the strike matters. Checkpoint summary: the silent weapons of a smarter mind. You use curiosity as a scalpel, dissecting systems instead of skimming them. You never get bored because your mind is always building, connecting, and sharpening. Feel no need to prove intelligence because silence and restraint give more control than arguments ever could. But the deadliest signs are still ahead. They explain why you can sway people without effort, why you're envied, mistrusted, even feared. If you're still reading, it's because you know on some level you're not like most people. Intelligence doesn't need the spotlight. It watches, listens, waits, and then moves unseen. To Machiavelli, intelligence was never about prestige or academia. It was about control of yourself, of others, of outcomes. The rarest minds don't dazzle. They bend reality until the world adjusts to them. You've already seen the power of restraint, curiosity, and concealment. Now it's time for the final two signs, the ones that make you a master of human nature, whether you admit it or not. Sign 6. You make people believe it was their idea. Dangerous mind doesn't argue or impose. It plants. It suggests. It guides others to walk into the exact conclusion you wanted them to reach, while believing they arrived on their own. This isn't persuasion. It's Machiavellian suggestion. You don't say, "You're wrong." You ask the right questions until they rethink themselves. You don't declare your plan. You frame the stage so they claim it as theirs. You let others feel in control, as long as their control aligns with your strategy. You wrap your insights in their ego, not yours, because you know people rarely change from facts. They change when their identity is involved, so you don't attack, you reshape. Machiavelli knew people despise being convinced, but they love being right. If you can make your idea feel like their epiphany, you wield influence that feels natural, permanent, unstoppable. What this reveals about your mind: you don't crave credit, only control. You've abandoned the childish need to be right. You've turned humility into dominance. Sign 7. You never react, you calculate.
A wise ruler,
Machiavelli warned, must not keep faith when it works against his interests. This is the coldest, rarest sign of intelligence. You don't react. Not to insults, not to provocation, not even to betrayal. You absorb. You observe. You delay. Then, when the timing is precise, you strike. Most people are ruled by impulse, anger, fear, ego. But not you. Your silence after an attack isn't weakness. It's a countdown. You don't waste moves. You let others reveal their hand, waste their energy, expose their tells. By the time you respond, you've already won. Most people are slaves to emotional momentum. Someone insults them, they snap. Someone disagrees, they defend. Someone betrays them, they break. But not you. Whether through pain or discipline, you've learned to respond like a strategist, not a victim. Here's what it looks like. You create distance between stimulus and response. When provoked, you don't give the enemy the gift of a reaction. You leave them in uncertainty, unsure if they even reached you. That is psychological warfare. You play the long game in every conflict. If someone wrongs you, you don't waste energy on impulse. You wait, watch, and move only when the timing serves you. And when you finally act, it's devastating. Value outcomes over emotions. Winning over venting. Reshaping the board over complaining about the pieces. That discipline makes you unstoppable. Machiavelli wrote that emotions are luxuries the powerful cannot afford. You've learned the same. Your intelligence doesn't just process what is, it calculates what will be, controlling the future by staying unreadable in the present. What this reveals about your mind, you are emotionally self-governed. You don't expect fairness from the world, you only seek to understand it. You've replaced emotional reaction with leverage. Now, step back. Most people think intelligence is about IQ, puzzles, or clever opinions. Machiavelli would laugh. To him and to you, true intelligence is about seeing without being seen. Influencing without force, winning without exposing your hunger to win. That's why most will never recognize your mind until it's too late. You've now walked through all 7 signs. Let's review. You stay silent while others speak, because silence gathers data. You pierce the mask and see real motives. You wield curiosity as a weapon, not a pastime. You never get bored, because your mind builds and sharpens itself. You never prove your intelligence. You let results speak. You let others believe it was their idea, steering from the shadows. You don't react, you calculate, and you strike with precision. If these resonate, you're not just intelligent, you're strategically intelligent. And in a Machiavellian world, that's the only kind that survives. But here's the brutal truth. Machiavelli would whisper to his most loyal student being, smarter than others is not the gift you imagine. It's a burden, a danger, even a curse. Because the world isn't built for sharp minds. It's built to control them. And unless you learn to navigate that reality, your brilliance will rot into bitterness, your clarity into isolation, your power into wasted potential. So what do you do with it? First, accept misunderstanding as the price of intelligence. You'll speak truths others can't grasp, and they'll call you arrogant. You'll warn of dangers they don't see, and they'll call you paranoid. You'll think 10 steps ahead, and they'll call you obsessive. You'll feel alone, punished. For clarity, but remember Machiavelli's warning. The first test of a ruler's intelligence is the men he surrounds himself with. Loneliness, then, is not failure. It's a filter. You don't owe your brilliance to those who can't grasp it. Let them misunderstand. It's part of your camouflage. Second, build a network, not a crowd. Average minds crave being liked. Superior minds seek being understood. Strategic minds don't chase friends, they choose allies. You're sharper than most. Your greatest danger isn't failure, it's wasting brilliance on people who drain you, demand explanations, or dull your edge. Machiavelli would counsel this. Keep your circle small, but lethal. Don't seek applause. Seek those who sharpen you, those who challenge you without trying to dim you. Use everyone. Trust few. Be kind, but never vulnerable. Be generous, but never transparent. You're not collecting friends. You're building a network of influence. Guard your mind like a fortress. Rarity breeds envy, and envy always looks for a crack. Never let someone else's confusion make you doubt your clarity. Your intelligence isn't decoration, it's a weapon. And every weapon must be protected and wielded with precision. Third, master emotional control. This may be the most critical step in your evolution. Many brilliant people fall not for lack of knowledge, but for lack of discipline. They let frustration crack their mask. They let passion sabotage patience. They let truth outrun timing. But here's the lesson. Men judge more by the eye than by the hand. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few know what you truly are. Don't need to be calm, you need to look calm. You don't need to be friendly, only appear open. Because in reality, being right isn't enough. No. You must also be trusted, feared, or admired. Those outcomes come not from raw intelligence, but from emotional strategy. Start here. Practice non-reactivity. Let others rage, argue, reveal their weakness. You win by abstaining from the mess. Use emotion as a mask, not a mirror. Don't. Show people your feelings. Show them the feelings they need to see to do what you want. Delay gratification like a ruler. You don't need to prove your intelligence in the moment. Sometimes the deadliest move is waiting until your enemy walks willingly into your trap. Fourth, turn intellect into leverage. Intelligence alone is nothing. Applied intelligence is everything. Knowledge becomes power only when it reshapes reality.
Nice.
If you understand psychology, influence people. If you understand systems, build your own. If you see patterns, use them to predict and profit. Play multiple games at once. Most people see in one dimension. You see in many, so act like it. Build income, alliances, reputation, and let others puzzle over how you do it. Never reveal your full capability. If they see all of you, they'll try to control you. Keep parts hidden. Let mystery do half the work. Machiavelli wrote, "True power comes not from what you own, but from what others believe you can do." So let them underestimate. Let them misread you. Let them forget until it's too late. Final words from one rare mind to another. You are not crazy for feeling apart. You are not cold for seeing clearly. You are not broken for being misunderstood. You are rare. And the rarest minds don't need applause, permission, or crowns. They rule quietly by watching, learning, and moving with precision. Remember this. Final Machiavellian law: the fox sees the traps. The lion frightens the wolves. One without the other is doomed. You've already proven yourself the fox. Now it's time to become the lion. Use your intelligence not only to survive, but to shape the world itself. Because if rare minds stay silent too long, the world falls to fools who only look wise. And we both know how that ends with chaos. So go, play a different game, and win it without ever raising your voice.